What happened today? Why don't you tell me about the stage, the Mogi on stage?
Yes, well, so we had about 3 miles of neutral, and within, I don't know, that first mile or 2 miles after the racing started, Anne Samplonius attacked. For some reason, everybody was content to just let her go. I think everyone thought it's pretty early in a stage, you know, of day one. You know, we'll just kind of let her go. No one really reacted too much when she started rolling, and she was moving pretty quick. We had a bit of a tailwind, and the time gap was going up pretty fast. She ended up getting about 6.5 minutes at one point, and eventually teams put about one person into a rotation, not so much chasing, but just to kind of keep the pace up. Eventually, Peanut Butter and Company came to the front and organized on the front. And then that's when the time, you know, started coming down. They did a great job on the front, controlling things and, you know, starting to minimize that gap that Anne had. And then by the time we made the right-hand turn to start into the climb, I think the gap was down to 1.5 minutes. So, you know, at that point we knew it was definitely, we were going to catch Anne. So we, you know, so the peloton was together at that point. And as we started making our way to the bottom of the climb, there was a big crash that took about 20 people down. And I was one of the riders caught up in it. My teammate Amanda actually went down, and a couple of my other teammates were in it, got involved. Amanda's the only one who hit the deck, unfortunately. And so, but my derailleur hanger was pretty beat up, so I had to do some damage control, and then finally got going again. And at that point, when I looked up the road, it was like things had already shattered, you know, from the crash, and I think also from people starting to attack on the climb. And so then at that point, it was just kind of everybody making their way up the climb, because team tactics more or less were out the door at that point. Leading into the crash, Kat Carroll and Alicia Welch were really driving the pace, you know, leading Mara out into the climb, I guess. And then after the crash, and at that point, then everybody was just on their own, you know, suffering up the climb. I think because it was just day one, you know, everybody was a little bit content to kind of see what was going to happen, how things were going to play out, to let the climb sort of sort things out. Obviously, Mara 1 has a pretty big time gap, and so now for the next 4 days, you know, teams are going to have to start being more aggressive, because nobody wants to race for second. That might have seemed how it was today, but it's a long, hard, you know, tour. We've got a lot of miles to ride yet, so I don't think anybody was, you know, really wanted to bury themselves on day one. So coming into tomorrow, hopefully, you know, I can foresee things being a little bit more aggressive.
Okay, so today, you know, there was a big talk. There might be a lot of wind. So were you guys impacted by wind at all? No. No.
I think we had mostly a tailwind. I mean, I did feel it. I remember feeling a little bit more of a headwind on the climb, but up until that point, no. Even when Peanut Butter and Company were on the front, I mean, you know, they had it not quite single file, not quite in the gutter. I mean, I think, you know, the peloton was able to, you know, sit in enough because it wasn't too much of a cross or headwind. I think it probably was a little bit more of a tailwind most of the time.
All right. And
so it didn't impact the race today, but I hear tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah, well, we'll see.
A whole nother story. I mean, like wind advisories, building damage advisories, 80-mile-an-hour gust of wind.
So how do you prepare for that? Or what can you do for that?
You just have to be attentive, and positioning will be key. Because, I mean, if it is windy like that, splits are going to just happen automatically. So you have to be in the right place, you know, to make sure that you don't all of a sudden look up and be like, oh, there's a split. How'd that happen? And I'm not in it, you know. So being very attentive is going to be important tomorrow.
All right. So, you know, like you mentioned, Mara has a over 2 minute gap. I don't know the results. You're top 10, right?
I think so, yes.
So what's the plan for TIBCO? And when's the best time to attack Mara? Is it wait the time trial, see what happens there? Or?
Well, you know, we're not going to be able to wait till the climbs, because obviously she's, you know, she can out-climb everybody, so we can't bring her to the climb. So we're going to have to start attacking her. I think tomorrow's stage starts with the climb, then it's flat, and then it finishes with a pretty wide open climb to the finish.
And it was a sprint last year.
Yeah.
Sprint.
So, you know, we're going to have to start attacking her probably, you know, in the flats, not on the climbs, you know, and just start being aggressive. And you know, at this point, maybe for I don't know what our tactic is going to be quite yet. We haven't had our team meeting.
I know,
but yeah, whether it's stage wins or whether we feel like we can still go after, you know, the GC, because we all kind of, unfortunately, we're all in the wrong place at the wrong time today when that crash happened, and all kind of got caught out in it. And so we'll see. I mean, the time trial will say a lot too. You know, if tomorrow is as windy as they say it's going to be, it's anyone's guess what could happen, you know, tomorrow. And then the time trial will sort things out even more. And then a lot can still happen on the last day.
Exactly. So if you were number 2 or 3, you know, what would you do? What would be the tactic then if you were a team like TIBCO or Team BBF?
Right. I mean, yeah. I mean, I think they're really just going to have to. TIBCO's going to have to put, you know, Mara and her team under pressure. You know, and they did quite a bit of work today, so you know they might be a little bit tired tomorrow. We'll see. But they're a super strong team, so I think they're going to be able to come back fighting every day. So it's going to be tough. Yeah, everybody's just going to have to be smart and figure out how, you know, they can get some sort of advantage going into the climbs, so that they're starting the climb ahead of Mara. You know, and how that's going to happen, who knows? But I mean, that's the only way. You can't start the climb with Mara and out-climb her, so you have to get there before she does.
All right. Simple, isn't it?
Yeah, right. Very.
And how's the team doing now after the crash? So you said Amanda went down.
Yeah, Amanda, I think, might have a little bit of a concussion. She's a little goofy anyway, and now she's even more goofy. But she's tough. She'll be good, and everybody else is fine after the crash. Nobody had any injuries. It was just a matter of, you know, bikes getting mangled a little bit. And
everybody's strong and ready for tomorrow and this win, though.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
We'll come out fighting, hopefully. Everybody's ready for it.
Thank you, Meredith.
Sure.